I'm Mark Scala, the Chief Curator at the Frist Art Museum. We are very thrilled to be opening Rina Banerjee, Make Me a Summary of the World. It's been a long time since we've opened a new exhibition here at the Frist, and I think that you will find it to be extraordinarily beautiful and thought-provoking. The exhibition was organized by the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts and the San Jose Museum of Art, and it has traveled the country. We at the Frist are very, very fortunate to have it this fall. We feel that it has a lot to do with our contemporary moment in terms of the themes contained within the show, but also just the spirit, the vibrancy, the beauty and the excitement engendered by Rina's work. So please join me as we walk through the exhibition. So the work that we're standing in front of right now is called In Breathless Confinement, and it has a lot. There is a lot going on in this work. There are two figures at the center, one with a brown head and one with a white head. And so immediately you start to think about race. And for Rina, who is an artist who has experienced dislocation in her life, she was born in India, she moved to London as a child, then she moved to New York. She lived in Queens, where there are a lot of other people who were from other places. And so that sense of what W.E.B. Du Bois called a double consciousness, kind of being from two places, but also feeling like you're not really from any place, was something that really affected Rina from when she was a girl. And that's a story that has continued today. And of course, there are tens of millions of diasporic people in the world, people for whom that sense of dislocation has caused them to feel maybe not at home, like they're floating through the world. And that's the sensation that is caused by this work, and certainly the two figures at the center, they're actually emanating from the same body. So one head is brown and one is white, but they're both of the same body. Other parts of the work are very, very interesting because they show a tangled network of elements coming out from those two central figures. And look closely, you'll see that the network of elements is actually composed primarily of medical tubing. And when we think of medical tubing and we think of things spreading out over the wall, you might think about a map. You might think about the way viruses spread, the way people spread, the way all sorts of aspects of life are transmitted from one area to another area. And in some ways, she's, I think, reflecting on the notion of the invader, the refugee, the migrant, the asylum seeker, as somehow a viral invader. And that's certainly a conversation that we've heard in recent years, but it's not new. It's been going on for a long time. So if you were to take that idea and maybe think of the two central figures as being the unwanted outsiders, and then the things that they represent, the invasion that they represent, the pathologies of sickness, crime, of uncleanliness, all of those things that are oftentimes part of ultranationalist rhetoric, is something that you might see as being a part of this work. But for Rina, there is never a simple explanation. She's interested in complexity, in duality, in layers of meaning. And so when you look at that tangle of medical tubing, you might reverse it. You might think medical tubing carries healthful infusions, blood infusions especially. And what if we see this not as a spreading out of pathologies, but actually as an infusion of healthfulness toward the center? And so that conversation, that double way of looking at the world, I think is something that is inherent in almost all of Rina's works.